Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. This week we thought we'd talk about films. The films that we love, the films that we always have to watch, even if we've seen them many, many times before. Johnny Tudor, you're a big film buff, aren't you?
Well, I've watched a lot of films on my travels. As you know, when we're on the road, there's nothing much to do but go and see films, you know.
Yeah.
In the old days, it was in the cinema, but now it's on the computer. I remember I was up in Birmingham doing a nightclub. And in the day, I thought, well, no, there's this film on, nothing I fancied. And there was one Elvis on tour.
Right.
And I was never a big fan of Elvis's read. I liked some of his songs. I thought I'd go and see this. And it knocked me out completely. It was when he was on form.
Yeah.
And he came on with a cape. and he started with Also Sagt Zarathustra. Da, 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 da. And on he comes. And he does the American trilogy, and that was it. I've been singing the song ever since.
Yeah.
So it really impressed me, the actual production and everything, you know. And the way he sang, but it was tongue-in-cheek. He's having a joke with the audience. He was on form. It's terrible sad when you think what happened.
And a great film, because it's behind the scenes as well, isn't it? You sort of get a real sort of feel for getting the concert ready and all of that.
Exactly. I saw another concert the other night on TV. It was the Eagles in Hollywood. Was it Hollywood or Los Angeles amphitheatre? It was fantastic. They're still terrific.
Yeah.
And they got another guy in it. He said, I'm the new guy. I'm 61. But they sounded the same. They were fantastic. But apart from like concerts, I love things like, I loved The French Connection. I thought that was a fantastic film.
Yeah.
It was gripping. And then French Connection 2 was even better, or as good. And normally they're not, but this one was. With Gene Hackman, and it just kept you gripped, didn't it?
Yeah, I've just watched those both back to back recently. You know, I'm not sure whether it was lockdown or something, but you know, you think, right, what am I going to? You know, you've been through everything, you've been through every television series, and I put it on. I remember liking it when I was a kid. I mean, it's as you say, it's gripping because it's so real. It feels real,
so real,
particularly for that time in the 1970s, starting off in New York, because New York is like Hollywood these days, or it's like Disneyland, isn't it? It's the streets are clean, but back in the 70s,
it was gritty.
Gritty indeed. Yeah. Some of the language obviously has changed. Some things that people say then that they wouldn't say now. But I suppose that's of its time, isn't it? And
that's right.
And a sequel that's just as good.
And do you know another one was gritty, which I really was Get Carter, the original with Michael Caine. Did you ever see it?
Yes.
Oh, it was fantastic. And what I liked about that was it was all based in Newcastle around the club era. And I was working at the time when it was, because there was a guy called Michael Lavaglio, I think he was. He got shot, and they found him under a bridge in Newcastle. And I think it was all based on that.
Right.
The gangsters, you know, moving in on the drugs and the prostitution and all that. And I was working with Selena Jones. You know Selena Jones, jazz singer?
Lovely singer.
Well, I was doing a week with her, and she used to go out with a gangster called, what was his name? Dennis Stafford.
Right.
Who went to jail for murder, okay? And at the time, I didn't know who Dennis Stafford was, but I think he had something to do with this guy's murder that they based all this film on.
Wow.
So I used to go bowling with Selena, something to do in the day, you know, go temping bowling.
Yeah.
So after about 4 days, she said, John, you better cool it, you know, because Dennis has found out we're going bowling. I said, who's Dennis? My boyfriend. But he's a bit dangerous. I don't want you getting hurt. So I said, okay, forget it. We won't go bowling then. And he turned up and he's this little guy, but he looked menacing. Do you know what I mean? But no, the atmosphere they got in Get Carter was exactly like I remember it when I was working the clubs up there. It was gritty, but it was exactly the same. Fantastic.
Can I just check? You know when he turned up? Because he's from the northeast, is it?
That's right. His brother got murdered or something.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm just thinking, you know, for Dennis, your Selena's boyfriend. You know, when you hear the Godfather, you know, Sonny, never tell anyone outside the family what you're thinking. You know, does it have the same effect? Obviously, you're terrified of this guy because Selena said. So when Dennis turns up, does he go, "Away the lads, man"? You know.
No, Dennis Stafford was actually a Cockney.
Oh, okay.
Because the connection was the Cockney gangsters went up, didn't they? To like in Michael Caine's case, he was a Cockney, and he went up to avenge his brother in the northeast. That's what happened.
Right. Okay. Good.
So it was that connection.
Just wondering if it's quite as menacing when it's like, "Oh, wait, the lads," you know.
Yeah.
If you sound like Anton Deck.
It'd be a bit strange. You wouldn't have the same potency.
you know, Sonny never tell anyone outside of it. All right, gangster films. You've seen The Godfather? Have you 1, 2, and 3?
Oh yes, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know the bit I loved in The Godfather? I'll tell you a lovely story. Marlon Brando, when he's told that his son is being killed, right? He doesn't go berserk like you'd think. He goes, and you can see the pain on his face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was working with a girl who eventually married Roy Hudd.
Okay. Yeah.
Debbie Hudd, lovely girl, dancer. But she was all, my Roy, and everything was my Roy, okay? So everything you said, oh yeah, my Roy did that. See? And she said, so I said something about The Godfather. I said, hang on, I said, I love Roy, I said, but he's not Marlon Brando. But another one I love is Grease. Do you like Grease?
Because it's funny, isn't it? It's actually quite, some of the topics again in Grease are quite, it's...
Well, they're 60s, aren't it?
Yeah.
That's what happened in the 60s.
Yeah.
You had a girl back of a car, so you did. Nobody... It was normal.
I was 10 in the 60s, John.
No, well, I was.
I didn't let you try to the 70s.
I was going out with girls in the 60s.
Yeah, but the songs are great. And, I mean, obviously Olivia Newton-John looks amazing. I mean, and John Travolta's fantastic as well, isn't he? Yeah.
They were all in their 20s or more, and they were playing like 16-year-olds, but they looked young, didn't they? You know?
Yeah.
I like Kaniki. He says, what is it? He says, a hickey from Kaniki is you haven't lived.
Why do you like it so much then? What's so good about it?
Because it reminds me of my youth when I was that age.
Yeah.
You know, and all the songs, were very 60-ish, 60-esque.
Yeah.
And the Teddy Boy outfits and the bit, that's what I was like when I was 15, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know Teddy Boys? I might have told this story before. My mum always used to say, don't go up to the park when I was a little boy, because I left this house, which was near the park, when I was about 7. So it was before the age of 7. She said, don't go up to the park on your own because the Teddy Boys will get you, right?
And I used to get the gypsies to get you.
Well, I didn't know what a teddy boy was. I had this impression of this great big man looked like a teddy bear, It's always put me off teddy bears since.
It comes from they were dressed in Edwardian clothes. Teddy.
Clothes. Oh, yeah, of course.
Edward, Ted. That's where it came from. Right. And when I worked in a shop, when I was 15, I got a job selling clothes. In John Collier's, the tailor, and they used to come in, and they'd want the jackets. Okay, John, I wanted fingertip length. It had to be long, as their fingers, and it had to have like a collar that was like not astrakhan, was it velvet collar?
Yeah,
and velvet on it, and then the drain pipes had to be 13s. I don't know, they got them on 13 inches on the ankle.
Amazing. All right, so I did mention The Godfather. Godfather 1 or Godfather 2 for you, which is the better one?
I think. First of all, The Godfather, which is the one where he shoots the guy in the restaurant. Is that Godfather 1?
That's Godfather 1.
Yeah, that had a big impact because it was the first one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Michael, I wanted to keep you out of the business, Michael.
That's right, And then they go to church after killing somebody. It makes me laugh.
We've all done that.
Yeah. Oh, they haven't killed people.
And then because The Godfather 2, did a bit of a prequel because it does Marlon Brando's character early on when he comes to New York, and it's got Bobby De Niro, Rob De Niro.
Yeah.
But because then there's a temptation to keep the franchise going, isn't there? And but I still like the third one. I know people slag it off. They say it's not as good as 1 and 2. Well, to be honest, most films aren't as good as The Godfather 1 or 2. I quite like The Godfather.
Which is the 3. One with the horses' heads in it? That's number 1.
That's number 1 as well, I think. Yeah.
Because that was based on a true story. I'll give you a good story here.
Come on.
When I was doing a cruise once, I met this comedian, American from New York, and he had a small part in it, right? And he told me about Al Martino. No, sorry, I said the wrong one. Victor Moan, the singer.
Right.
He's an Italian singer, big star in his day. He was on the cruise with his wife, who was Diane Carroll, okay?
Oh, wow.
And he was telling me about the mafia, because he said we were all run by the mafia. He said Al Martino, Dean Martin, and Frank Sinatra. Okay.
Yeah.
So when they're doing the film, somebody had to portray this singer. Do you remember the bit where there's a singer in it?
Yeah. Johnny somebody or other, Johnny Martin.
So, anyway, so Sinatra rang all of them up and said, "Don't play this part. It's depicting me in a bad light." Okay,
right.
This is from the horse's mouth.
Wow, from the dead.
They all turned it down except Al Martino. He never worked again after that.
Wow.
Because he had the power, you see, did Sinatra.
Yeah.
But he did it. And there was the scene when he's in with the Godfather.
Yeah.
And he says to him, "What am I going to do, Godfather? I can't do anything." And Marlon Brando slaps him, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "You can be a man." And he smacked him. Because he was such a crap actor, apparently the story is, when he hit him, he didn't know he was going to hit him. And he got a performance. It's lovely, isn't it?
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Have you seen them now? Then now it's Bruce Willis. It's the Christmas film.
The Tower Inferno one. Not Tower Inferno.
It's not the Nakamichi building. It's I watch it every Christmas. Die Hard one.
Oh, Die Hard, yeah, that was great.
And Alan Rickman at the end. You know Alan Rickman? He sort of falls off the building into the down to the floor. But apparently, because if you look at his face, he looks terrified. You think, he's an actor. I suppose he's good at acting. But apparently, they did sort of drop him from quite a height, but onto something soft. I mean, but they said, right, we're going to let you go on 3, okay? But they let him go on 2. Oh. So that really is.
So he
really did have a shock when he
was a good actor, Alan Rickman.
Oh, he was brilliant.
He was a terrific actor.
Yeah.
What was the one he did when he played in Robin Hood? He played the sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh, sure, yes.
He camped it up something rotten, but it was really great.
Right, in films that you might not have seen, Galaxy Quest. That starred Alan Rickman. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
It's a parody of Star Trek.
Okay.
Where what happens is that they've done Star Trek the series Galaxy Quest, but it's gone out through the atmosphere to this far off galaxy, and they believe that it's true. So they think that the person who I think is Tim Allen, who's the Captain Kirk type character, they think he's real. They think, and they call him the Chronicles. Okay. So when they're attacked by these nasty aliens, they come to Earth to find them, and they're also they're all out of work actors, and they can't convince the aliens that actually it's all made up, so they have to go and be themselves in the series, but in real life to try and save the aliens who are being attacked by bad. It's a terrific film, and Alan Rickman is absolutely wonderful in that.
Oh, he's just fantastic.
Galaxy Quest, if you get a chance to see it, I'm sure you'd love it. Yeah. Unusual films then, what other films would you recommend?
Let me think. I've said Get Carter. I've said Grease.
A Wonderful Life. Have you seen that Wonderful Life?
Oh, A Wonderful Life. That's one. I watch that every Christmas. Yeah. Do you know that? It always gets me. I watch it and the tears start coming. And Clarence. Do you know? There's a line I remember when he goes into the bar. And nobody knows him. They don't recognize him. Yeah. And the guy goes, "That does it. Throw these 2 pixies out through the door or through the window." Clarence is there to throw these 2 pixies out. But it's a lovely film.
Yeah, I always cry at the bit where he's come back and Zuzu's petals. He's got Zuzu's petals. Yeah. He's got them again.
Yeah, and there's the scar and the thing that comes off the banister and all that.
Yeah, and then everybody comes in and he's the richest man in Bedford Falls. Oh,
yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah,
they showed it.
They know to do it.
Yeah, they showed it in the cinema once, and my kids bought tickets for the whole family to go and see it, like a matinee performance in a proper cinema. It's great.
Yeah.
And for most of the performance, they were just looking at me, waiting to see me burst into tears.
Yeah,
because they knew I always did.
Yeah. Well, I got it on video, so every time he comes, I'm trying to stick it on myself.
Oh, fantastic!
It's great. Apparently, he wrote it in very short space of time.
Right.
And what about Casablanca? Do you like Casablanca?
Oh, Casablanca. Yeah. Round up the usual suspects. Where do you remember where you saw it? Is there a place in your mind where you saw that film, where you saw Casablanca, or was it just one that you sort of picked up along the way?
It's always been there, isn't it? Yeah. It's always been there. And the Maltese Falcon, do you remember that one?
Yeah, brilliant.
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre.
Yeah, what did he say? I can trust you, Rick, because you hate me, Rick, so I know you can trust me.
We went on tour to a Hong Kong, Korea, and Australia with Max Boyce, and the first time I'd been on a big plane. And it was before the days of having the TV screen in the back of the seat in front of you.
Yeah, it was up in the air, was it?
They used to bring it down, and then they used to project it. And that was the first time I saw. I'd never seen Casablanca before, I'd seen it on the TV a bit, but never. And I think the whole idea of going to the Far East or going to somewhere exotic. And watching it was brilliant. It was, those two things are stuck in my mind. Another one that does that to me, it sounds like I spend all my time on planes. I went to Lapland to see Father Christmas. And it was to do a radio program. So I was, I was working, Johnny. I was working, and they showed Sleepless in Seattle.
All right, that was a good film.
And so every time I think of that now, I think of being on that plane, and
yeah. It's talking about going abroad now. I remember when I was in Australia. Mm-hmm. I met up with Jerry Marsden. Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd worked with him once in Liverpool, and he's walking down the beach, and he. John, what are you doing, your lad? I said, so I was staying in a different hotel. He said, come on for dinner. So I went to dinner, and he took me to the pictures. We went to see Rocky, the first Rocky, when it first came out, and he paid for everybody. He was a fantastic look, Jerry.
That film for you is Australia, isn't it? That's it. That's that film.
But I can see, do you know what's good about that film? Is the way he runs up them steps. It's this underdog, and he's going to do it, boy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He reminds me of Dorothy Squires, the London Palladium. That's her Rocky steps, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? She came back, I'm going to do this. I don't care you don't think I can do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, it was a real feel-good film, that. I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay. There was he had the turtles in the turtles in the thing. He goes, this is Cuff and Link. I got this is Cuff and this is Link. And Stan used to get me doing the pantomime. He had me dressed up once, like Stallone.
Yeah.
He used to call me, Baloney. Sylvester Baloney. And I'd come on and I'd have a bloody gun and I'd have my hair black in those days.
Are there films that you've watched a million times that you always have to watch if they're on the TV?
It's always Grease, always. I've watched it, I don't know how many times. And do you know what? I used to watch it on the ship before I went on. Because it used to give me a feel good when the Frankie Avalon used to come down.
Yeah.
The angel.
Yes.
Pretty school dropout. And I looked a bit like him in those days with the black hair. And I said, I'm ready now.
There's a couple of boys' films that I always, when my lads, we used to watch them together. So Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3. Die Hard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 25, however many they've made now. And even though the boys are away from home, they're living in London. Every time there's a film on, I'm watching it late at night. I just send them a picture, and they can tell straight away which film I'm up watching. There
used to be a cinema in Cardiff, the Prince of Wales. It was originally a theatre. Now it's a Wetherspoons. And I used to put all the soft porn films on there, right. the Dirty Mac Brigade, to go in there. And one of it said, Emmanuel 2 goes east. I mean, how many permutations there were? Emmanuel 2 goes east.
That's the thing. If you've got a franchise, you've got to ring them.
Hey, you're going to see Elton tonight, are you?
Yeah, go see Elton John at the Swansea.com stadium. So we record. We'll put this out straight away. Now I'll put it out today. So yeah, going to see him, and maybe next week I'll tell you about how good he was. But have you been to see Gladys Knight?
I saw her 2 days ago. Yeah,
she good.
She was great. They're all having to go at Diana Ross because she's singing out of tune.
Yeah.
But Gladys Knight was perfect, as she always sounded.
Yeah.
My only crit was the balance. The bass was so loud; it was reverberating in my chest, and I think it detracted because there was too much. But she was great. I mean, she sang all the songs, and the voice was bang on.
Yeah, brilliant.
And she's 68 or something. 78, sorry.
A quick thing about Glastonbury. Yeah, Diana Ross. I had friends who were there, and the thing is, with all they were all singing her songs anyway. So maybe it was a bit more pronounced on TV that the tuning wasn't always spot on. People criticising Paul McCartney. It was just fantastic, wasn't it? All those hits.
Well, you see, it's the atmosphere you got to think about, haven't you? And you can't really get it on the box.
No.
I mean, he's an icon, isn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah. It sort of made me feel a little bit better, because he's an icon. He's written all those hits, and people still criticise him. You think, well, if they're going to criticise Paul McCartney,
you got no chance.
We exactly. They're always going to be haters. So
it's the only business you put yourself up to be knocked down.
Yeah,
the only one in the world, isn't it? Whatever, somebody's not going to like you, and they go, I don't like him, big head.
Yeah.
I remember Tom Jones once. I don't know if he told me or somebody else told me. He said it. He said, if I go in a pub in Ponty and I say drinks all around, they go, big headed pal. But if I don't, it's sort of mean. Sod. You know what I mean? You can't win. You can't win.
All right, well, I'll report back next week. Have a great time.
Okay.
Well, just a quickie. Why the change in location today? There's normally a painting.
Downstairs we're going to Mallorca in a couple of weeks. Right. So all the ladies I'm there. My daughter, my wife all went. Emily Squires. We're all having our hair done, or they're having colours done, and so on. So they're all in the downstairs bathroom. So I thought I'd come up and do it.
Good. Don't tell them we finished recording. You can just stay up there now, have a nice cup of tea. Say, I'm still on with Mal. I'll be down now in an hour and a half. All right, you have a good time, and I'll see you soon.
And you enjoy Elton? Are you going around to see him afterwards?
Oh, I think it's all COVID secure. That's the trouble. I think he's going to just fly in.
Send him a message. I'm sure he'd see you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'll let you know how I get on. All right. Hey, lovely to see you. Take care.
And you tell him, mate, have a good day.
God bless.